Makingascene.org brings you tracking versus mixing. Today, we're going to dive into a problem that trips up almost every single home studio artist, and a lot of times you don't even know it's happening.
Okay, let's just start right here. This one sentence, man, it explains so much frustration. Have you ever had a day where a performance just feels stiff and you can't figure out why? Or you finish a mix that sounds absolutely incredible in your headphones, but then you play it in the car and it just completely falls apart? Well, the source of that problem might not be your talent, and it's probably not your gear. It's the room, and we are going to figure out exactly why.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start by really nailing down this idea of the confused home studio. Then we'll break down the absolutely critical difference between tracking and mixing. After that, we'll get into the fun stuff, how to design spaces for each job, what to do when you've only got one room for both, and finally, how all of this connects directly to your career as an artist.
You know, most home studios don't fail with some big dramatic explosion. It's more like a quiet death by 1,000 cuts. It's a slow, steady erosion of your confidence, one frustrating session after another. This isn't about your gear breaking, it's about these subtle, nagging problems that just grind you to a halt. And this is just so important to hear. We're artists, right? So we're really good at blaming ourselves. We start thinking, oh, if I only had that $1,000 mic, or maybe I'm just not cut out for this mixing thing. But what Makingascene.org points out is that the real bad guy here is a space that you're asking to do two totally different jobs at the exact same time, and it's failing at both of them.
All right, so what are these two completely different jobs? This is it. This is the absolute core of what we're talking about today. See, tracking and mixing, they aren't just steps on a to-do list. They are fundamentally different ways of thinking, totally different mindsets that need completely different environments to work.
Think of it like this. Tracking is all about vibe. It's about capturing a feeling. You're trying to create a space where an artist feels comfortable and safe enough to really lay it all on the line and commit to a performance. It's a creative, vulnerable thing. Mixing, though, that's the total opposite. It's about being a detective. It is about brutal honesty. The whole point of a mixing space is to shine a giant spotlight on every single problem, not to hide them. You need to be detached and analytical.
Now here's where it gets really wild. Look at this comparison. These two goals are basically enemies. A room that's designed to make you feel confident and to forgive little imperfections is by its very nature a room that is not showing you the problems with pinpoint accuracy. So when you try to make your room do both of these things at once, it starts to lie to you. And let me tell you, a room that lies is the most expensive, most frustrating piece of gear you will ever own.
So if tracking is all about creating that vibe for a performance, how do we actually design a room just for that? Well, the answer starts with a pretty big shift in how you think about the space.
And this right here, this is the golden rule. We're not aiming for some kind of sterile, acoustically perfect chamber. We're aiming for psychological safety. The artist, whether that's you or someone else, needs to feel so comfortable that they forget the technology is even there. The moment a room feels weird or echoey or just sterile, the performance clams up. The goal is to create a space that feels like it's on your side, so you can just relax and let it fly.
So for a solo artist, maybe you're in a bedroom or a spare office. This means using everyday stuff like rugs, heavy curtains, a comfy couch to soften up those harsh sound reflections. And we're not trying to make the room sound dead, we're just trying to make it feel comfortable to be in. Notice the part about lighting too. Bright overhead fluorescent lights feel like an operating room. Warm, indirect light from a lamp, that immediately lowers the tension. And yep, closed-back headphones are key to keeping the performer in their own little world, focused on the emotion, not the distractions.
Now, for a band crammed into a basement or garage, you're dealing with a different beast. Controlled chaos. Movable panels, or gobos, are your best friend here. They let you create a little separation for a loud guitar amp or the drums without building permanent walls. The whole point is to capture that lightning-in-a-bottle energy of musicians playing together, feeding off each other. The space needs to feel tough and ready for anything, not like a museum. And again, closed-back headphones are an absolute must to stop the drums from bleeding into the vocal mic and to keep everyone playing tight.
Okay, we got the performance, it's in the computer. Now it's time to take off our artist hat and put on our lab coat. The space for mixing is not about comfort, it's not about vibe, it's about cold, hard, analytical truth. So, here's the deal. A good mixing space should never, ever flatter your music, ever. The setup has to be symmetrical. Your listening position and your speakers need to form a perfect triangle. It is absolutely non-negotiable. If it's not symmetrical, you'll be chasing problems that aren't even there. And all that acoustic treatment, it's not for decoration. Its only job is to give you an honest, predictable sound. You have to be able to trust without a doubt that if something sounds weird in this room, it is weird.
And hey, this whole different jobs, different tools idea, it goes all the way down to your headphones. For tracking, we needed those closed-backed ones to block everything out. But for mixing, open-back headphones are usually the way to go. They're way less fatiguing on your ears over a long session, and they give you a much more natural, realistic stereo image. It helps you make better decisions about panning and space in your mix. 2 different tasks, 2 different tools. Simple as that.
Okay, so I know what you're thinking. That's great, but I've only got one room. Yeah, join the club. That's the reality for most of us. But the solution isn't necessarily a bigger space. It's being more intentional about the space you already have.
This 4-step process is pure gold. First, just decide. Say it out loud. Today, this is a tracking room. Or, tonight we are mixing. Second, physically change the room. Move those panels around. Roll up the rug or lay it down. Third, create little rituals. Change the lighting. Put the vocal mic in its stand away when it's time to mix. These little physical cues literally train your brain to switch gears. And number 4 is maybe the most important. Protect the boundary. When you're trying to get a great vocal take, do not start messing with EQ and compression. That's mixing. Stay in the tracking mindset. That discipline alone is a total game changer.
All right, let's zoom out for a minute, because this whole thing, it's not just about getting better sounding records. It's about building a real, sustainable career in music. When you get this right, your studio stops being a hobby that just costs you money, and it turns into a powerful asset that actually builds momentum.
I want you to think about your gear like this. The stuff in the middle of your recording chain, your laptop, your audio interface, your software, it's basically disposable. Technology moves fast, new software comes out every year. These things are designed to be replaced every few years. They're temporary.
But the tools at the very beginning and the very end of that chain, your microphones and your studio monitors, that is a different story entirely. These pieces define the sonic character of your studio. A great microphone is like a classic camera lens. It has a personality, and it can last for decades. And your monitors, they are your source of truth. These are the things you invest in for the long haul.
And this right here, this is the payoff. This is where the rubber meets the road. When you have a reliable system where your room does its job properly, you work faster. You're not second-guessing yourself all the time. Faster sessions and fewer mix revisions mean you actually finish more music. And finishing more releases is what builds momentum, gets you noticed, and creates opportunities. It's not just theory, it's just simple math. Your studio setup directly fuels your career.
So we end up right back where we started. But now, this question has a lot more weight to it, doesn't it? Take a hard look at your space. Is it supporting you? Is it giving you comfort when you need to perform? And brutal honesty when you need to mix? Or is it confused about its job and quietly lying to you every single day?
What you choose to do with that answer? Well, that could change everything for you. Make sure you check out the other great articles and resources on makingascene.org, the place the indie artist goes to build the new music industry.